Get started today, I'd like to introduce and acknowledge our staff members who are veterans. Mr. James Brown, U.S. Army Captain. Mrs. Shelby Lowe, U.S. Army Sergeant. Mrs. Sarah Ron, U.S. Navy E-4 3rd Class Petty Officer. And I know he just recently got back, but Mr. Michael Walden, U.S. Air Force Master Sergeant. At this time, we will rise for our national anthem.
Today we are gathered here to honor and recognize American service members past and present. This day of celebration, reflection, and remembrance can be traced back to the conclusion of World War I. In 1918, on the 11th hour of the 11th day of the 11th month, an armistice was signed, bringing an end to the war to end all wars. To celebrate this victory, November 11th became a universally recognized day of celebration, known as Armistice Day, which only honored the veterans of World War I. In 1954, after the conclusion of World War II and the Korean War, Armistice Day was renamed Veterans Day to honor all veterans who have served America in war. Veterans are recognized as men and women who have served or are currently serving in America's armed forces. Today we honor each and every veteran for their patriotism, love of our country, and willingness to leave their homes, their families, and their lives to unselfishly put it all on the line to protect our to let them know that we are grateful and acknowledge their many sacrifices and accomplishments. Thank you.
Veterans Day is, of course, something we celebrate every year on the 11th of November. But as we progress throughout the year, there may be some days where we don't think about it very often. The piece the band is about to play is called The Fanfare for the Unsung Hero, to help remind that all of those who have served in the military for the United States are always going to get our appreciation and our praise.
Please rise for the national anthem. No, Pledge of Allegiance. Oh my God. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Please be seated.
On Veterans Day, we honor all who answered to a service call. Soldiers young and soldiers old fought for freedom, brave and bold. Some have lived while others died, and all of them deserve our pride. We're proud of all the soldiers who kept thinking of red, white, and blue. They fought for us and all our rights. They fought through many days and nights. And though we may not know each name, we thank all veterans just the same. We will now have a moment of silence.
Our guest speaker today served for 38 years in the Army. Colonel Danny Nelson served in Vietnam, and now he still serves. He's the chaplain of the Brownsburg VFW Post 331. Please welcome Colonel Danny Nelson.
Good afternoon. It's good to see such a good crowd here today on Veterans Day. You know, there's men and women around the world as we speak, many of them in harm's way to ensure the freedoms that we enjoy. Some of the things that the veterans do, I'd like to tell you. It is a veteran, not the preacher, who has given us the freedom of religion. It is a veteran, not the reporter, who has given us the freedom of press. It is a veteran, not the poet, who has given us the freedom of speech. It is a veteran, not the campus organizer, who has given us the freedom to assemble. It is a veteran, not the attorney, who has given us the right to a fair trial. It is a veteran, not the politician, who has given us the right to vote. It is a veteran who salutes the flag. It is a veteran who serves national anthem. Veterans went where others did not want to go. They went where others feared to go. They did what others failed to do. They asked for nothing from those who gave nothing and reluctantly accepted the thoughtful of eternal loneliness should they fail. They have seen the face of terror, felt the stinging cold of fear, enjoyed a sweet taste of a moment's love. I have cried, I have pained, I have hope, but most of all, they have lived others that sit best forgotten. But today, we honor our proud American veterans. The flag does not fly because the wind moves it. It flies the last breath of every soldier, sailor, Marine, and airman who has defended it. As I speak here now, my son, who is in a full-time National Guard and been in about 20 years, he just arrived with 600 Indiana Army National Guard men in Kuwait about 3 days ago. And I've talked to him a couple of times. You know, with the modern technology, it's not like Vietnam. You can talk to anybody. I said, well, how's it going, Brent? And he said, you know, pretty good, Dad. He said, I asked one of my soldiers how things were, and he said, it's pretty good, sir. He said, we got a Starbucks 24 hours. So they got their priorities in right. But like they said, I retired as a colonel. I made staff sergeant in Vietnam, and I got a battlefield commission. And when we came back in from the field, because it'd been a pretty bad couple of nights, when we came back in the field, Colonel Hospelhorn, and how can you ever forget that name, called me in his office. He said, you know, Nelson, he said, we're going to demote you from a staff sergeant to a second lieutenant. I said, oh, we are? And he said, yes, sir. He says, what you did out there was tremendous, and I'm not going to go into that, but he said, here's what you got to do. You either got to stay in Vietnam, or you got to come back to Vietnam, or join the reserve force. So I came home and joined the National Guard. I've never been sorry. I spent 35 years in there, and I've commanded several companies. And all the men and women in the service, they love this country. They want to support this country. They want to defend this country. But we cannot forget those who were not in the service but served us in other ways, by keeping our country running while we were overseas, by running our factories, our trains, our buses. So you too served in your own way. We can't have everybody in the armed forces. We'd have nobody to stay back in this country. So on behalf of veterans everywhere, I would like to thank you. Do we have any Vietnam veterans out there today? If you do, would you stand please for a minute? We're going to recognize all veterans, but I want to say something about the Vietnam veteran. I being one. Many people have asked me, how did you feel about the war in Vietnam? And I said, well, I and thousands of others, young men and women, went to a faraway country called Vietnam. We did what our country could ask us to do, and we did it the very best we could do it. We did not lose the war. Our politicians lost the war. Thank you, sir. When we go back and think of the modern things we have in the military now, and we think of the veterans in World War I in the trenches and the colds of Germany, the veterans of World War II. My dad landed on Omaha Beach and went all the way to the Battle of the Bulge, and it had to have been terrible, that cold, cold weather. I'm cold-natured anyway. I would have had a rough time over there. But all the sacrifices they've made, and we have 72,000 men and women who are missing in action or POW. But we know, I hope there's no POWs. But there are 72,000 men and women since the start of World War I who are missing in action, whose families waited just with a glimmer of hope that theirs might show up. And they are finding more and more bodies overseas in Vietnam and Korea, and they're taking them to, they go to Hawaii, and they're registered, and a lot of them I read about it, they found them, they buried them, they're burying them with honors. But we still have 72,000. So that's a heavy price that we paid for freedom. I'm proud to be a veteran. But I'm prouder yet to be a father, a grandpa, and I guess now a great-grandpa. I wear my veteran's hat with pride. When people thank me, I always say thank you for supporting me, for making it so I could take care of things. I want to read something that Abraham Lincoln said, and I think it's a very good honor to the soldier, sailor, marine, and airman who bravely bear his country's cause. Honor also to the citizens who care for his brother in the field and services as the best they can in the same cause. And that is the people who support us, who didn't go to war, but they were here to send things forward. Like I just told you, my son's in Kuwait. There's 600 of them there. Back in the Indianapolis Armory, there's probably 40 people that's on the same, they're not deployed, but they're supporting what they need over there. And then there's, for every soldier, sailor, marine, and airman, it takes 9 civilians for different jobs to support them. Now, I appreciate all the support that they gave us, but however, if you had any thing to do with making the field rations we had, you're not my friend. But I'm not going to stand up here and talk all day, because I was in the service a long time and I've heard a lot of colonels and generals talk for 45 minutes and say absolutely, positively nothing. So I'm not going to push you through that. But could I ask all of our veterans to stand up, please? Not just but all of them. How about a round of applause? You know, one final thing here. 0.5% of the American population, with the exception of World War II, ever serves in the armed forces. 0.5%. Now, World War II, there were 16 million, but 0.5%. Now, think about that. Think about that. Not very many to give us the freedoms that we enjoy. I'm going to leave now, but I'm going to thank you, veterans, for your service. I'm going to thank you, and you children out there, I shouldn't call you children, you students out there, work hard. You're the next generation. You're the one that's going to carry us on. And let me tell you, we're not leaving you an easy job, because this world is a mess. So get in there, work hard, and make us proud. And you veterans, thank you for your service. And you others who didn't serve, my God, may God bless you, and thank you. God bless America.
We're going to conclude our program this afternoon with a medley of the Armed Forces hymns. For those of you who are veterans who are here with us today, if you would stand when the hymn from your branch of the service is played and sung, we will recognize you again at that time. So please stand when you hear the hymn from your branch of the service performed. This will be a combined performance by the band and the choir. I'll mention as we're wrapping up this evening that this afternoon, that today's performance was live streamed. We thank David Yoder for his assistance in getting the live stream going for us. And so if you have a family member who was not able to be present, but you'd like to share this with them, it's available on YouTube. And we want to make sure that we thank Craig Culkins for his technical assistance today as well. Thank you, gentlemen, both of you. So we'll get set for our conclusion this afternoon. This is a tribute to the armed services.
Great job, choir and band. Thank you, gentlemen, for directing our students. Thank you, veterans. At this time, we will allow our guests to leave to get ahead of our students, so that concludes our Veterans Day program. Thank you, and have a blessed day. After that, we'll release the students.